The Force binds all things across the galaxy, connecting every living being in an invisible web of energy and destiny. But what happens when something from beyond the stars, from beyond reality itself, tears through the fabric of space with weapons that know nothing of the Force? What happens when soldiers who have never heard of Jedi or Sith arrive in the middle of a war that will decide the fate of trillions? The answer came in fire and chaos above the planet Christophsis. Space tore open like a wound in the galaxy. Not a hyperspace exit, no spiral of blue light, no calculated emergence point. This was violent, wrong, a ripping of dimensional barriers that sent gravitational shockwaves rippling through the system. Separatist warships orbiting the besieged world lurched as their sensors screamed warnings about massive spatial distortion. Then the UNSC Infinity emerged. 5.7 kilometers of human engineering and desperation punched through the rift. Her titanium A3 hull scarred and burning, energy shields flickering under the strain of dimensional travel. Warning klaxons blared throughout the massive warship as systems fought to stabilize. In the bridge, Captain Thomas Lasky gripped his command chair as the ship shuddered, watching the viewport fill with stars he didn't recognize. "Slipspace drive is offline," Navigator Rodriguez shouted over the chaos. "We've got cascade failures in sections 7 through 12. Engineering reports 40% reactor efficiency and falling." "Defensive systems?" Lasky demanded, his voice cutting through the noise with practiced authority. "Mac guns operational, missile pods functional, energy shields at 60% and recharging." The weapons officer paused, her face going pale. "Sir, we have multiple contacts. Unknown vessel configurations, but they're powering weapons. On the tactical display, 6 warships that looked like they'd been designed by someone who'd never seen a UNSC frigate maneuvered into attack positions. Wedge-shaped hulls, no apparent bow or stern, covered in what looked like turret emplacements. They were smaller than Infinity, but they had numbers. "This is Captain Thomas Lasky of the UNSC Infinity to unknown vessels. We are not hostile. We have suffered critical damage and require..." The lead Separatist Munificent-class frigate opened fire. Turbolaser bolts, though Lasky had no name for them yet, streaked across the void in brilliant green lances. They hammered into Infinity's forward shields, each impact sending ripples of energy across the barrier. The ship rocked, but the shields held. "Return fire," Lasky ordered, his voice cold. "Target their weapons emplacements. Show them we bite back." The UNSC Infinity's main supermac cannon spoke. A 50-ton ferric tungsten slug accelerated to 4% the speed of light. It crossed the distance to the Separatist frigate in less than 2 seconds. The kinetic round punched through the vessel's ray shields like they didn't exist, because they were designed to disperse energy, not stop solid matter moving at relativistic speeds. The slug tore through the frigate's hull, through its reactor core, and out the other side. The ship exploded in a brilliant fireball that lit up Christophsis' orbit. The other Separatist vessels hesitated. "Sir, we're receiving multiple transmissions," the communications officer reported. "Different language, but the translation software is, wait, it's working. They're identifying us as an unknown Republic weapon. They're calling for reinforcements." Lasky's jaw tightened. Republic? Reinforcements? What the hell had they jumped into? "Get me a full system scan. Find me a planet we can use for cover and repairs. And someone get Master Chief on comms. I need Spartans ready for anything." Deep in Infinity's Spartan deployment bay, John 117 was already suited up. The Mjolnir-powered assault armor was a marvel of UNSC engineering. Energy shields, enhanced strength augmentation, neural interface, and enough armor plating to stop most small arms fire. Inside it, Master Chief stood like a monument to humanity's will to survive. 7 feet of green-painted war machine, motion tracker active, MA5D assault rifle mag-locked to his back. "Chief, we've got a situation." Lasky's voice came through his helmet comm. "Unknown hostiles, Unknown space, and our slipspace drive is slag. I need you and your teams ready for boarding action. Defensive or offensive, I'm not sure yet. Understood, Captain, Chief replied, his voice calm despite the ship shaking around him. Fireteams Osiris and Majestic are armed and ready. What's our tactical situation? Hostile fleet of unknown configuration. We just destroyed one vessel with MAC fire, but there are 5 more and they're calling for backup. We're also detecting what looks like a planetary battle below. Heavy combat, mixed technology signatures. This isn't Covenant, Chief. This is something else entirely. Master Chief moved through the bay where other Spartans were checking weapons and armor systems. Spartan Jameson Locke of Fireteam Osiris looked up, his own armor's gold visor reflecting the red emergency lighting. New galaxy, same war? Locke asked. Analysis first, Chief replied. We don't know who we're fighting or why. The ship shuddered again as more impacts hammered the shields. On the tactical display mounted on the bay's wall, Chief watched the Separatist vessels spreading out, trying to flank Infinity. Smart tactics. They'd learned from watching their sister ship die. Then new contacts appeared on the display, more ships, but these ones had different profiles, triangular like the hostiles, but marked with different transponder signals. The translation software flagged them as Republic forces. Multiple new contacts, Rodriguez announced on the bridge. They're positioning between us and the hostile fleet. Sir, I think they're protecting us. One of the Republic Venator-class star destroyers opened a channel. The holographic image that appeared showed a clone trooper officer, his white armor decorated with red markings. Unknown vessel, this is Commander Cody of the Republic's 212th Attack Battalion. You are in Christophsis system space, currently contested between the Galactic Republic and the Separatist Alliance. Identify yourself and your allegiance. Lasky exchanged glances with his XO. Republic, Separatist. Clone trooper. None of these terms meant anything, but the tone was clear. They'd jumped into the middle of someone else's war. This is Captain Thomas Lasky of the United Nations Space Command vessel Infinity. We are not part of your conflict. We suffered a critical slipspace malfunction and require time to repair our systems. There was a pause. Then a different figure appeared in the hologram. A man with a beard and what looked like brown robes. His expression calm but intensely curious. Captain Lasky, I am Jedi General Obi-Wan Kenobi. On behalf of the Republic, I welcome you to the Christophsis system. Your vessel is remarkable. I think we should speak in person. There's much we need to discuss. Master Chief watched the exchange from the deployment bay, his instincts screaming warnings. New galaxy, unknown factions, and already they'd been attacked and rescued by opposing forces. This wasn't going to be simple. Chief, Lasky's voice cut through his thoughts. Prepare a security detail. We're about to have guests. And Chief, I want you to assume they're all potential hostiles until proven otherwise. Affirmative, Captain. The UNSC Infinity hung in orbit above Christophsis, surrounded by warships from a war it knew nothing about, carrying soldiers bred for endless conflict who were about to meet warriors who wielded an ancient power they couldn't begin to understand. The Clone Wars had just encountered something unprecedented, and the galaxy would never be the same. The hangar bay of the UNSC Infinity was a cathedral of military precision. Rows of Pelican dropships stood ready for deployment, their troop bays capable of carrying full squads of ODSTs into hot zones. Longsword interceptors hung from magnetic clamps, their missile pods armed and waiting. The deck crew worked with practiced efficiency despite the emergency, running diagnostics and preparing for potential combat deployment. Master Chief stood at the center of it all, flanked by 12 Spartans in full Mjolnir armor. Fireteam Osiris, Locke, Tanaka, Vale, and Buck held the left flank. Fireteam Majestic, Thorne, Grant, Madsen, Hoyer, and DeMarco secured the right. 2 additional Spartans from Fireteam Crimson completed the security detail. Behind them, 3 squads of ODST shock troopers maintained perimeter positions, their black armor and polarized visors giving them the appearance of death itself. "Remember," Chief said over the team channel, "these aren't Covenant. We don't know their capabilities, their weapons, or their intentions. Rules of engagement. Weapons hold unless directly threatened, but stay ready." "Chief," Spartan Locke's voice came back, "their ships use energy weapons similar to Covenant plasma, but the beam characteristics are different. Longer sustained fire, less dissipation. If they're hostile, our shields will hold, but not indefinitely." "Noted." Captain Lasky's voice crackled over the bay's intercom. "Master Chief, our guests are approaching in what they call a Republic attack shuttle. Well, you'll see. Their pilot is using thrusters I can't identify. No visible exhaust, no reaction mass. Whatever technology they're using, it's not UNSC standard." Through the atmospheric containment field, a LA-8I Republic gunship emerged from the black of space. Its angular wings and ball turret configuration looked alien compared to UNSC design philosophy, built for atmospheric combat primarily, unlike the Pelican's focus on versatility. It rotated with surprising agility for its size, bleeding velocity as it entered the hangar and settled onto the deck with repulsor lifts humming. The boarding ramp lowered with a pneumatic hiss. First off were soldiers. Clone troopers, though the UNSC personnel had no context for what that meant. Their white armor was segmented, clearly designed for mobility, with orange markings identifying them as part of the 212th. They moved with professional discipline, weapons, some kind of energy rifle, held ready but not aimed. 6 troopers established a perimeter around the shuttle. Then the Jedi emerged. Obi-Wan Kenobi walked down the ramp with the confidence of someone who'd negotiated with hostile forces 1,000 times. His brown robe seemed almost ceremonial compared to military uniforms, but there was something in his bearing that spoke of combat experience. Beside him walked a younger man with a mechanical right hand, dressed in darker robes with armor pieces that suggested a more aggressive philosophy. Anakin Skywalker's eyes immediately locked onto Master Chief with the intensity of someone assessing a threat. The 2 groups faced each other across 30 meters of hangar deck. Spartans and Jedi, super soldiers and Force users. Neither side truly understood what they were looking at. "Impressive," Obi-Wan said, his voice carrying across the bay. "I've never seen armor quite like that, and so many warriors of such substantial build." "General Kenobi," Captain Lasky said, stepping forward from behind the Spartan line with 2 armed Marines as escort. "Welcome aboard the Infinity. I apologize for the security measures, but given we were fired upon immediately after arrival, I'm sure you understand our caution." "The Separatists tend to shoot first and consider diplomacy somewhere around 5th or 6th, Anakin interjected, his hand resting near something cylindrical on his belt. "Your ship destroyed one of their frigates with a single shot. We've never seen a weapon that could do that. So, before we go any further, whose side are you on?" Master Chief's motion tracker showed Lasky's elevated heart rate. The captain was good under pressure, but this was unprecedented territory. "We're not on anyone's side," Lasky replied carefully. "The UNSC has no stake in your war. We're here by accident and we'll leave as soon as our slipspace drive is repaired." "Slipspace?" Obi-Wan stroked his beard thoughtfully. "Not hyperspace?" "We don't know what hyperspace is," Lasky admitted. "Our faster-than-light travel uses slipstream space, an alternate dimension we enter through Shaw Fujikawa translocation. The technology was damaged during our arrival." Anakin exchanged a glance with Obi-Wan. The implications were staggering. A completely different FTL method suggested these people came from somewhere beyond known space. Far beyond. "Captain Lasky," Obi-Wan said slowly, I think you need to understand the situation you've entered. This galaxy is in the middle of a civil war. The Galactic Republic against the Separatist Alliance. Christophsis is a contested world. Those ships that attacked you were Separatist forces who assumed you were a new Republic weapon. And given what we just saw your vessel do to their frigate, I can't entirely blame them for being concerned. Your weapon, Anakin pressed, his tactical mind working. Some kind of mass driver? Kinetic kill vehicle? Master Chief spoke for the first time, his voice modulated through his helmet speakers. Magnetic accelerator cannon. 50-ton slug at 4% light speed. Standard UNSC capital ship armament. The clone troopers visibly shifted at the sound of Chief's voice, deep, calm, and utterly without emotion. Commander Cody, who'd accompanied the Jedi, studied the Spartan with professional interest. "Sir," Cody said quietly to Obi-Wan, "those armor systems, energy shielding, neural interfaces, augmented strength based on movement analysis, they're not just soldiers, they're weapons." "So are Jedi," Chief replied, his sensors having picked up the whispered comment. "We've identified the cylindrical devices on your belts as weapons of some kind. Energy signatures are unusual, focused plasma containment without standard magnetic bottles. I'm curious how they function." Anakin's hand moved away from his lightsaber. This soldier, whoever he was, had just described a lightsaber's basic function from passive sensor scans alone. That kind of analytical capability was rare. "They're called lightsabers," Obi-Wan explained, deciding transparency might serve better than mystery. Plasma blades contained in a magnetic field, powered by kyber crystals, the weapons of the Jedi Order, peacekeepers and negotiators for the Republic. "Peacekeepers who board unknown vessels with armed escorts and weapons ready," Chief observed. "Says the soldier standing in full combat armor with enough firepower behind him to level a city block," Anakin shot back. Lasky stepped between the verbal jousting. "Gentlemen, we're not enemies. We're just trying to understand our situation and find a way home." "Which brings us to the Republic's offer," Obi-Wan said, his tone shifting to diplomatic. "Your slipspace drive requires repairs. Christophsis has minimal facilities, but Coruscant, the Republic capital, has the most advanced technology and engineering capabilities in the galaxy. If you allow us to escort you there, we can provide resources, expertise, and perhaps find a way to help you return to wherever you came from." "In exchange for what?" Lasky asked. He'd negotiated enough with ONI to know nothing was free. "Information," Obi-Wan replied honestly. "Your technology is unlike anything we've encountered. If the Separatists acquire it, or worse, if they capture your vessel, it could shift the balance of the entire war. We need to ensure that doesn't happen." "He's saying they want to keep us from the enemy," Spartan Locke translated over the team channel. "Classic asset protection protocol." Anakin's eyes narrowed slightly, as if he'd heard the transmission. Impossible through encrypted UNSC channels. But his expression suggested something had tipped him off to the internal communication. "There's something else you should know," Obi-Wan continued. "The Separatist fleet that engaged you has called for reinforcements. Count Dooku, their political leader and a powerful warrior, has taken personal interest in your vessel. If we don't move soon, you'll be facing a fleet 10 times the size of what you've already seen." Alarms blared across the hangar bay. Rodriguez's voice crackled over shipwide comms. "Captain, multiple slipspace signatures inbound. No, hyperspace signatures. Separatist capital ships dropping out of FTL. We count 12 Providence-class destroyers and 3 Subjugator-class heavy cruisers. They're broadcasting surrender demands. Sir, they want our ship." Master Chief's hand moved to his assault rifle. Around him, every Spartan went to combat-ready stance. "General Kenobi," Lasky said, his voice tight, "I think your offer just became considerably more attractive. But I need one thing clear. If we accept Republic escort, The UNSC Infinity remains under UNSC command. We're allies of convenience, not subordinates. Obi-Wan smiled slightly. Captain, I wouldn't dream of trying to command a vessel I barely understand. But I suggest we continue this conversation while moving, preferably at high speed. Agreed. Chief, maintain security on our guests. General Kenobi, you're welcome to observe from our bridge. You might want to see what the UNSC does when someone demands our surrender. Master Chief watched the Jedi carefully as Lasky led them toward the bridge. Something about Kenobi troubled him. The way he moved, the calm certainty in his voice, the sense that he was aware of things beyond normal perception. Whatever these Jedi were, they weren't standard military personnel, and that made them dangerous in ways the UNSC had never encountered. The bridge of the UNSC Infinity was organized chaos. Holographic displays floated in three-dimensional arrays, showing tactical readouts, damage reports, and the rapidly deteriorating strategic situation. Captain Lasky stood at the center of it all, his command chair surrounded by officers working with practiced efficiency despite the impossible circumstances. Obi-Wan and Anakin stepped onto the bridge flanked by Commander Cody and Master Chief. The Jedi's eyes widened at the technological sophistication, displays showing real-time battlefield analytics, AI-assisted targeting solutions, and communication networks that made Republic systems look primitive. Tactical display, Lasky ordered. Show our guests what we're facing. The main holotank expanded, showing Christophsis orbit in perfect detail. The UNSC Infinity appeared as a blue icon, surrounded by 6 Republic Venator-class star destroyers. Arrayed against them was the Separatist fleet, 15 capital ships, including 3 massive vessels that dwarfed everything else in the system. "Those are Subjugator-class heavy cruisers," Anakin said, his voice tight. "Ion pulse cannons that can disable entire fleets if they get a solid hit on your ship." "Our energy shields operate on different principles than your ray shields," the weapons officer interrupted, then caught herself. "Sorry, General, but our intelligence officer has been analyzing your vessel's defensive systems. Your shields disperse energy attacks. Ours absorb and redirect. Ion weapons might not have the effect you're expecting." Obi-Wan stepped closer to the holotank, studying the tactical situation with a general's eye. "Captain, your vessel is impressive, but you're outnumbered. Even with the Republic fleet supporting you, those are difficult odds." "We've faced worse," Lasky replied. "Rodriguez, plot a exit vector through the weakest point in their formation. Weapons. I want firing solutions on any ship that gets within Mach range, and somebody get me a damage assessment on our slipspace drive. How long until we can jump?" "Engineering reports 6 hours minimum for emergency slipspace capability," Rodriguez answered. "But sir, we don't have star charts for this galaxy. A blind jump could put us anywhere, inside a star, too close to a gravity well, or deeper into hostile space." "Then we need time, and we need information," Lasky said, turning to Obi-Wan. "General, you said Coruscant has the facilities we need. How long to reach it, and can your fleet buy us the time to make the jump?" Before Obi-Wan could answer, the comm officer spoke up. "Sir, incoming transmission from the Separatist flagship. It's encrypted on multiple channels, but our AI is breaking it down. They're specifically asking for you by name, Captain." "By name?" Lasky frowned. "We've been in this galaxy for less than an hour. Put it through." The holotank shifted, and a figure appeared. Tall, aristocratic, with a curved lightsaber hilt at his belt and eyes that seemed to pierce through the projection itself. Count Dooku's presence radiated authority and barely concealed menace. "Captain Lasky of the vessel Infinity." Dooku's voice was smooth, cultured, dangerous. "I am Count Dooku of Sereno, leader of the Confederacy of Independent Systems. Your arrival has caused quite a stir." "Count Dooku," Lasky replied, keeping his voice neutral. "You'll forgive me if I'm not impressed by the welcome. Your ships fired on us without warning. A regrettable misunderstanding, Dooku said, though his tone suggested he found nothing regrettable about it. However, I'm prepared to overlook that incident. Your vessel represents technology far beyond what either the Republic or Confederacy possesses. Join us, Captain. The Confederacy fights against a corrupt republic that has oppressed independent systems for centuries. We offer freedom, autonomy, and the resources to repair your vessel and send you home. Anakin's hand moved to his lightsaber. Don't listen to him, Captain. Dooku is a Sith Lord. He serves only darkness and his own power. And the Republic serves only its own interests while claiming moral superiority, Dooku countered smoothly. Ask yourself, Captain, why did the Republic immediately position themselves between you and hostile forces? Why are Jedi on your bridge right now? They seek to control you, to use your ship as a weapon in their war. Master Chief's motion tracker showed elevated stress levels across the bridge crew. Dooku was good, playing on their isolation, their need for allies, their desperation to get home. We're not joining anyone's war, Lasky said firmly. UNSC doesn't take sides in civil conflicts without understanding the full political situation. Then allow me to provide understanding, Dooku replied. The Republic is led by Chancellor Palpatine, a man who has expanded his emergency powers far beyond constitutional limits. The Jedi serve as his enforcers, claiming to be peacekeepers while leading clone armies, manufactured soldiers bred for obedience. Does this sound like a government worth supporting? Obi-Wan's expression tightened, but he didn't interrupt. He understood Dooku's game: plant seeds of doubt, divide potential allies, isolate the Republic forces. Sir, the tactical officer called out, Separatist fleet is moving. They're forming an envelopment pattern. If they complete the maneuver, we'll be surrounded. Captain, Dooku continued, I'm transmitting coordinates to a neutral system where we can discuss this properly, away from Republic interference. Bring your vessel there, and I guarantee safe passage. Refuse, and my fleet will be forced to prevent the Republic from acquiring your technology by any means necessary. The transmission cut off. He's bluffing, Anakin said immediately. Those subjugators can't fire on us without risking the Republic fleet. And Dooku wants your ship intact, not destroyed. Maybe, Master Chief said, his tactical analysis running through combat probabilities. But he's also positioning his fleet to prevent our escape. Classic hammer and anvil. Force us to choose between fighting our way out or accepting his negotiations. Lasky studied the tactical display, weighing impossible options. The Republic offered help, but wanted information and control. The Separatists offered freedom, but served a leader who radiated danger even through a holographic transmission. And the UNSC Infinity sat in the middle, a prize both sides would kill to possess. General Kenobi, Lasky said slowly, I need an honest assessment. If we run for Coruscant with your fleet, will we make it? Obi-Wan stroked his beard, his connection to the Force showing him branching futures, some bright, most dark. With your vessel's firepower and our fleet's support, we have a chance. But Captain, you should know, the moment we commit to that course, you'll be viewed as Republic allies by every Separatist in the galaxy. There's no neutrality after that. And if we take Dooku's meeting, he'll try to capture your ship, Anakin stated flatly, or learn enough about your technology to replicate it. Dooku doesn't negotiate, he manipulates. The bridge fell silent except for the steady ping of sensors tracking the encroaching Separatist fleet. Captain Lasky looked at Master Chief, seeking the silent counsel of his most experienced warrior. Chief's response was simple. Captain, recommend we don't let either side dictate our position. We break out, find a neutral location, make repairs on our terms. If we have to fight, we fight. But we don't get trapped in someone else's political game. Easier said than done when we don't have star charts or allies, Lasky replied. Then his expression hardened with decision. But you're right. We're UNSC. We don't surrender, and we don't get backed into corners. He turned to the tactical officer. Weapons, charge all MAC guns. Target the subjugator-class cruiser blocking our exit vector. Single shot, center mass. Let's see if their shields can handle tungsten at relativistic speeds. Sir, Obi-Wan interjected, that will start a battle. General, the battle started the moment we arrived and they opened fire, Lasky replied. Now they're surrounding us with overwhelming force and demanding we surrender. The UNSC has one answer to that kind of demand. He sat down in his command chair, every line of his posture radiating command authority. All hands, battle stations, Spartan teams to boarding defense positions, Marine squadrons to Pelican Bays. If they try to board us, they'll regret it. Engineering, I need every bit of power you can feed to weapons and shields. Master Chief moved toward the bridge exit. Permission to prepare Spartan combat deployment, sir. Granted. Chief, if they breach our hull, I need you to make sure they don't reach engineering or the bridge. Understood, Captain. As Chief left the bridge, Obi-Wan watched him go with troubled eyes. Captain Lasky, I admire your conviction, but you're about to engage a fleet that's won battles across 1,000 star systems. Are you certain your vessel can withstand what's coming? Lasky smiled without humor. General, the UNSC Infinity was built to fight a genocidal alien empire that glassed entire planets. We've faced ships that could burn worlds, and warriors who considered death a blessing. So yes, I'm certain we'll give them a fight they won't forget. He raised his voice to carry across the bridge. All stations report ready. MAC guns charged, target locked. The Separatist fleet continued its encirclement, confident in their numerical superiority. They had no idea what was about to hit them. The UNSC Infinity's Super MAC cannon fired. The subjugator-class heavy cruiser, 4.5 kilometers of Separatist engineering pride, never stood a chance. The 50-ton tungsten round crossed the distance in seconds, punching through the vessel's ray shields without even slowing. The kinetic energy alone was equivalent to a nuclear detonation. The slug tore through the cruiser's bow, vaporized its command deck, ripped through 3 reactor assemblies, and exited through the engine section. For a heartbeat, the massive ship seemed intact. Then it exploded from the inside out. Secondary detonations racing through compromised systems, atmosphere venting in massive plumes, hull sections spinning away into the void. Within 10 seconds, the subjugator broke into 3 burning pieces. On Infinity's bridge, Anakin Skywalker stared in shock. 1 shot. You destroyed a subjugator with 1 shot. Welcome to kinetic warfare, General, Lasky replied. Energy shields scatter beams. They don't stop solid matter at point 04 C. Helm, emergency thrust. Get us through that gap before they close it. All batteries, fire at will. The UNSC Infinity surged forward, her engines burning bright against the black of space. The Separatist fleet reacted with the kind of chaos that comes from watching your flagship die in seconds. Providence-class destroyers adjusted their formations, trying to compensate for the sudden gap in their battle line. Count Dooku's voice cut through every communication channel, cold with fury. All ships, disable that vessel. I want it intact, but if they continue to resist, destroy them. The Separatist fleet opened fire. Hundreds of turbo-laser bolts streaked across space. Green lances of superheated plasma that had shattered Republic vessels in countless engagements. They hammered into Infinity's energy shields in a brilliant cascade of impacts. The shields flared, absorbing and redistributing the energy, but even UNSC technology had limits. Each hit drained power, and there were so many hits. Shields at 40%, the defensive systems officer reported, redirecting power from non-essential systems. We can take this punishment for maybe 3 minutes before shields fail. Then we don't give them 3 minutes, Lasky snapped. Weapons. I want those Providence destroyers out of our way. MAC rounds, conventional rounds, missiles, everything we have. And somebody get me those Republic ships. We could use covering fire. Obi-Wan was already on his comlink, his voice carrying Jedi authority. "Admiral Yularen, this is General Kenobi. The Infinity is breaking through the Separatist line. All Venators, concentrate fire on their port flank. Give them a corridor." "Understood, General," came the reply. "Resolute and all support vessels engaging now." The Republic fleet moved with practiced coordination. 6 Venator-class Star Destroyers angled their wedge-shaped hulls toward the Separatist formation, their turbo-laser batteries opening up in synchronized volleys. The night lit up with sustained fire, red Republic bolts crossing space to meet the Separatist return fire. 2 Providence destroyers found themselves caught between Republic turbo-lasers and Infinity's secondary Mac guns. Master Chief monitored the battle from Infinity's armory, watching tactical feeds while his Spartans made final preparations. Around him, ODSTs checked weapons and armor, their black visors reflecting the red emergency lighting. The ship shuddered as another wave of turbo-laser fire raked the hull. "Spartan teams, listen up," Chief said over the command channel. "We're breaking through a hostile fleet. High probability of boarding action if they close to engagement range. Fire Team Osiris, you have Hangar Bay Defense. Fire Team Majestic, Engineering Section. Crimson, Bridge Approach. I'll maintain mobile response. Rules of engagement. Anyone without UNSC credentials is a hostile until Captain Lasky says otherwise." "Chief," Spartan Buck's voice came back, his usual humor absent. "These enemy soldiers, clones or droids?" "Both sides use manufactured soldiers," Chief replied, having absorbed the intelligence briefing. "Separatists use battle droids. The Republic uses clone troopers, but both are combatants, and both will kill you if given the chance. Spartans don't die easily. Let's keep it that way." On the bridge, the tactical situation was evolving rapidly. Infinity had closed to within 2 kilometers of the Separatist line, near enough that both fleets' weapons were operating at maximum efficiency. A Providence destroyer attempted to ram, its captain making a desperate gamble to disable the unknown warship. "Brace for impact!" Rodriguez shouted. The Providence's bow struck Infinity's starboard shields. Energy barriers that could withstand plasma fire weren't designed for multi-million-ton collisions. The shield collapsed in that section, and the destroyer's hull scraped against Infinity's armor with a screech of tearing metal that reverberated through the entire ship. "Hull breach, sections 14 through 17, damage control reported. Emergency bulkhead sealing. We've got atmosphere venting and contact. Enemy boarders in section 15. They're cutting through from their ship." Master Chief was moving before the report finished. "All Spartans, we have boarders. Fire Team Osiris, with me. Majestic, hold engineering. Crimson, the bridge is yours." He grabbed his MA-5D assault rifle and sprinted through Infinity's corridors, his Mjolnir armor's enhanced strength, allowing him to move at speeds that would cripple an unaugmented human. Behind him, Fire Team Osiris matched his pace. Locke, Tanaka, Vale, and Buck, each a weapon system unto themselves. They reached Section 15 in under a minute. The corridor ahead was breached, atmosphere contained by emergency force fields that shimmered with blue energy. Through the breach, Chief could see the Providence destroyer's hull pressed against Infinity's, and shapes moving through the gap, battle droids, dozens of them, pouring into the UNSC vessel. "Spartans, weapons free," Chief ordered. The B-2 super battle droids never knew what hit them. UNSC assault rifles opened up with armor-piercing rounds that were designed to punch through Covenant energy shields. Against battle droids' Durasteel plating, they were devastating. The 7.62mm rounds tore through droid chassis, shattering processors and severing hydraulic systems. A dozen droids fell in the first 3 seconds, but the Separatists had committed to this boarding action. More droids pushed through, B-1 battle droids with their distinctive skeletal frames, droidecas that rolled into position and activated shields, and something Chief hadn't seen before, Droid commandos, sleeker and more dangerous than their mass-produced counterparts. "Grenades!" Locke called, already priming a fragmentation explosive. The grenades bounced through the breach and detonated among the packed droids. Shrapnel tore through unshielded units, but the droideca's shields held, their twin blasters returning fire. Blue plasma bolts streaked down the corridor. Chief's shields flared as a bolt struck his chest plate. The energy dissipated across his shield matrix, but it had more punch than Covenant plasma. They're using sustained beam weapons. Shields will drain faster. Concentrate fire on the shield units. Spartan Tanaka dropped to one knee, her DMR raised. She fired 3 precise shots at a droideca's shield generator, the armor-piercing rounds finally overwhelming the defensive barrier. The 4th shot destroyed the droid's central processor. But more were coming. Through his motion tracker, Chief could see additional contacts flooding into Section 15 from the breached Providence destroyer. This wasn't a probing attack. This was an all-out assault to capture key sections of the ship. On the bridge, the situation was equally desperate. The Infinity had broken through the initial Separatist line, but now 2 more Providence destroyers were closing from above and below, attempting to box her in. "Captain," the weapons officer said, "Mac capacitors need 30 seconds to recharge. We've got conventional missiles and point defense, but those destroyers are getting too close." Anakin stepped forward, his tactical instincts screaming. "Captain Lasky, you need to roll your ship. Present your ventral surface to the upper destroyer and your dorsal to the lower one. Divide their firing solutions." "Our point defense systems cover all angles," Lasky replied. "Trust me," Anakin insisted. "I've fought in hundreds of space battles. When capital ships get this close, firing angles matter more than coverage." Lasky met the young Jedi's eyes and saw absolute certainty. "Helm, execute a 90-degree roll, port axis. Weapons, maintain firing solution on both destroyers. I want them worried about us, not confident." Infinity rolled, her massive bulk rotating with surprising grace. The maneuver forced both Providence destroyers to adjust their approach vectors, buying precious seconds. Mac capacitors at 80%, weapons reported, 20 seconds. Obi-Wan felt a disturbance in the Force, a cold presence moving through the battlefield like a predator. His comlink crackled with Admiral Yularen's urgent voice. "General Kenobi, we have a new contact. Single ship, Punwarka 116 class solar sailor. It's transmitting Count Dooku's personal codes. Sir, he's boarding one of the Providence destroyers heading for the Infinity." Anakin's eyes went wide. "Dooku's coming himself. He wants to capture this ship personally. Or kill everyone aboard if he can't," Obi-Wan added grimly. Lasky's jaw tightened. Enemy boarders already inside his ship, 2 capital ships closing for direct assault, and now their leader, a warrior the Jedi clearly feared, was joining the attack personally. "Mac capacitors charged," weapons announced. "Fire both barrels," Lasky ordered. "1 shot each destroyer. And get me Master Chief. Tell him we're about to have a very dangerous visitor, and I need Spartans ready to deal with him." In Section 15, Chief was already seeing the battlefield shift. The droids were pulling back, consolidating their position. They weren't retreating. They were making room for something else. Through the breach, a figure appeared. Tall, aristocratic, moving with the confidence of someone who'd never known defeat. Count Dooku stepped into the UNSC Infinity, his curved lightsaber hilt in hand, his eyes surveying the Spartans with interest. "Fascinating," Dooku said, his voice carrying over the sounds of battle. "Tell me, soldiers, have you ever faced a Sith Lord?" His lightsaber ignited, casting red light across the corridor. Master Chief raised his assault rifle. "No, but we've killed worse." Master Chief fired. 3 round bursts of armor-piercing 7.62mm ammunition streaked toward Count Dooku at supersonic speeds. The Sith Lord's lightsaber moved in a blur of red light, each round deflected with precision that seemed impossible, the blade intercepting bullets that should have been invisible to human perception. Sparks flew as superheated metal fragments scattered across the corridor. "Interesting," Dooku observed, his tone almost academic. "Primitive kinetic weapons. I expected more from warriors in such advanced armor." Fireteam Osiris spread into tactical formation, flanking positions acquired through years of combat experience. Spartan Locke activated his energy sword, a Covenant weapon scavenged from previous battles, while Tanaka and Vale maintained suppressing fire. Buck circled right, looking for an opening. Dooku's free hand extended, and Master Chief felt something grab him, not physical contact, but an invisible force that lifted him off his feet and hurled him backward into the bulkhead. His shields flared, absorbing the impact, but the raw power behind it was unlike anything he'd encountered. Not plasma, not explosives, pure telekinetic force. "The Force," Dooku explained, advancing down the corridor as droids repositioned behind him. "The energy field that binds all living things. You armor yourself against conventional weapons, but what defense do you have against the power of the universe itself?" Spartan Locke lunged with his energy sword, the blue blade striking toward Dooku's exposed flank. The Sith Lord's lightsaber intercepted without him even looking, and suddenly Locke was moving in ways he hadn't intended. His own momentum used against him as Dooku applied force-assisted leverage that sent the Spartan tumbling past. Chief regained his feet, combat analysis running. Enhanced strength, meaningless if the enemy could throw you without touching you. Superior armor, irrelevant against a blade that could cut through anything. Tactical coordination, difficult when your opponent moved with precognitive awareness. "Spartans, switch to explosives," Chief ordered. "Saturation fire, don't let him track individual projectiles." 4 Spartans drew M9 fragmentation grenades simultaneously, priming and throwing in a coordinated pattern that created overlapping blast zones. Dooku's expression shifted, concern replacing aristocratic amusement. Even a Sith Lord couldn't deflect explosions with a lightsaber. He thrust both hands forward, and the force manifested as a visible wave of kinetic energy. The grenades detonated mid-air, still meters away from their target, the corridor filling with shrapnel that ricocheted harmlessly off invisible barriers. But the explosions obscured vision for a critical second. Master Chief charged through the smoke, enhanced speed carrying him forward at speeds that pushed his armor's capabilities. His right hand carried a combat knife, titanium carbide blade, monomolecular edge, designed to pierce Covenant energy shields. If Dooku was precognitive, Chief needed to be too fast to counter. The knife struck toward Dooku's center mass. The lightsaber intercepted, the red blade severing the knife at the hilt. But Chief's left hand was already moving, powered gauntlet driving toward Dooku's face with enough force to shatter concrete. Dooku caught the punch with the force, stopping Chief's fist centimeters from impact. For a moment, the two warriors were locked, Spartan strength against Sith power. Mjolnir armor servos screaming as they fought telekinetic pressure. "Impressive," Dooku grunted, genuinely strained. "Your strength rivals a Wookiee's, but strength alone." Buck's shotgun blast caught Dooku in the side. The Sith Lord had been focused on Chief, his precognition split between multiple threats, and Buck had waited for exactly that moment. 8 pellets of tungsten buckshot struck Dooku's ribs at point-blank range. The Sith Lord staggered, his concentration broken. Chief's fist broke through the force barrier and connected with Dooku's jaw. The impact would have killed an unaugmented human. Dooku flew backward, crashed into a support beam, blood trickling from his mouth. Battle droids surged forward, laying down covering fire. Blue plasma bolts filled the corridor, forcing the Spartans into cover. Dooku rose slowly, wiping blood from his lip, his expression no longer amused. "You dare!" he began. The UNSC Infinity shuddered violently. Both MAC cannons had fired simultaneously, targeting the two Providence destroyers flanking the ship. One destroyer took a direct hit to its engineering section and exploded. The other's captain managed an emergency maneuver, and the MAC round only sheared off its port side, only being relative when half your vessel was suddenly venting atmosphere. The ship's violent motion threw everyone, Spartans, droids, and Sith Lord, against bulkheads. Emergency klaxons blared as Infinity's engines burned at maximum thrust, breaking free from the Providence that had been locked against her hull. Metal screamed as the ships separated. The breach in Section 15 suddenly became a gap opening to hard vacuum. Emergency force fields strained to contain the atmosphere loss. "Spartans, fall back," Chief ordered. "Seal Section 14. Dooku was already moving, force-enhanced speed carrying him back toward the breach and his own ship. Battle droids that couldn't reach safety in time were sucked into space, their mechanical bodies tumbling into the void. "Until we meet again, Spartan," Dooku's voice carried over the rushing air. Then he was gone, leaping across the widening gap with impossible agility. Emergency bulkheads slammed down, sealing Section 15. Chief and Fireteam Osiris regrouped in Section 14, their armor's atmosphere displays showing they'd been seconds from full exposure. "Status report," Chief demanded over the command channel. "Boarders repelled," Spartan Thorn reported from engineering. "We lost Sections 12 and 15 to vacuum, but no critical systems compromised. ODST casualties minimal. Those droids pack a punch, but they're not built for close-quarters combat against prepared defenders." On the bridge, Captain Lasky watched the tactical display as Infinity pulled away from the Separatist fleet. The Republic Venators had used the confusion to press their advantage, and now the Separatist formation was breaking, their command structure disrupted by the loss of 3 capital ships. "Hyperspace coordinates received from General Kenobi," Rodriguez reported. "Republic fleet is preparing to jump. They're recommending we follow. Our slipspace drive isn't operational, but they can provide escort." Anakin stood beside Lasky, his expression troubled. "Captain, Dooku boarded your ship personally. He never does that unless he's absolutely certain of victory. The fact that he retreated means your soldiers did something I've rarely seen. They made a Sith Lord reassess his strategy." "Your Jedi friend mentioned the Force," Lasky said. "Some kind of telekinetic power. My Spartans reported being thrown without physical contact, precognitive combat awareness, enhanced speed beyond human norms. That's valuable intelligence." Obi-Wan nodded slowly. "The Force is what makes Jedi and Sith so dangerous. It's an energy field created by all living things. Dooku is a master, one of the finest duelists in the galaxy. The fact that your soldiers engaged him and survived is remarkable." "They did more than survive," Lasky replied, pulling up helmet cam footage. "Watch." The holographic recording showed Master Chief's gauntlet connecting with Dooku's face, the Sith Lord's expression of shock, Buck's perfectly timed shotgun blast. Obi-Wan's eyes widened. "They hurt him," Anakin breathed. "I've fought Dooku 3 times, and I've never managed to land a clean hit like that." "Captain," Chief's voice came over the comm, "we need to discuss these Force users. Their abilities represent a tactical variable we're not equipped to counter. Recommend we acquire intelligence on combat techniques and limitations." "Agreed," Lasky replied. "General Kenobi, it seems we need to learn more about your galaxy's warriors. And quickly, because I doubt Count Dooku is going to forget what happened today." "No," Obi-Wan agreed grimly. "He won't. And now you've made an enemy of one of the most dangerous beings in the galaxy. Captain, that alliance I mentioned, you're going to need it." Lasky studied the tactical display, watching the Separatist fleet regroup at the edge of sensor range. 15 ships reduced to 10 in less than 20 minutes of engagement. The UNSC Infinity had proven her worth as a warship, but they'd also revealed capabilities that would make them a priority target for every faction in this galaxy. "Set course for Coruscant," Lasky ordered, "but maintain full combat readiness. We just walked into someone else's war, and I have a feeling walking out won't be nearly as easy." Master Chief stood in the sealed corridor, looking at the breached section where he'd fought a man who could move objects with his mind and see attacks before they happened. The Covenant had been a known enemy, predictable in their fanaticism, understandable in their tactics. These Jedi and Sith represented something different. They were soldiers who fought with powers that defied physics and weapons that cut through anything, and according to the briefing, there were thousands of them scattered across this galaxy. The UNSC had always prided itself on adapting to any threat. But this galaxy was going to test that adaptability in ways Chief couldn't yet predict. He opened a secure channel to Captain Lasky. "Sir, permission to begin Force user combat protocols. If we're going to survive in this galaxy, we need to understand how to fight these opponents." "Permission granted," Lasky replied. "But Chief, something tells me understanding them is going to be the least of our problems. These Jedi want to help us, for now. But what happens when they realize we're not leaving? What happens when other factions come looking for our technology? We're not just visitors anymore. We're players in their war." "Then we play to win," Chief replied simply. "Exactly what I was thinking." Lasky out. The UNSC Infinity, aligned with the Republic fleet, her damaged hull a testament to the battle she'd just survived. Around her, Venator-class star destroyers formed a protective escort, their crews still processing what they'd witnessed. A single unknown vessel destroying 3 Separatist capital ships and fighting off one of the galaxy's most feared warriors. In the depths of space, Count Dooku stood on his solar sailor's command deck, watching the Infinity disappear into hyperspace alongside the Republic fleet. His jaw still ached from the Spartan's punch, his ribs bruised from the projectile impact. He touched his comlink, opening a secure channel that bypassed all normal Separatist communications. When the hologram appeared, it showed a hooded figure whose very presence seemed to darken the room. "Master," Dooku said, his voice controlled despite his injuries. "We have a problem, a significant one." Darth Sidious leaned forward, yellow eyes gleaming with interest. "Tell me everything." Coruscant rose before them like a monument to civilization itself. An entire planet covered in cityscape, billions of structures reaching toward the sky in layered tiers that stretched from surface to stratosphere. Atmospheric traffic filled the spaces between buildings in organized chaos, thousands of vessels moving along designated flight corridors. The UNSC Infinity emerged from hyperspace at the edge of the system, escorted by the Republic fleet, and every sensor on the bridge lit up with contacts. "Scanning 5,000 vessels in immediate orbital space," Rodriguez reported, his voice awed. "Everything from personal transports to bulk freighters. Sir, this entire planet is one massive city. Population estimates are..." He paused, rechecking his readings. "Over 1 trillion sentient beings." Captain Lasky stared at the tactical display. The UNSC had never seen anything like this. Not even Reach, at its height, had approached this scale of urbanization. They turned an entire world into a city. "The Galactic Republic has stood for over 25,000 years, Obi-Wan explained, standing beside Lasky on the bridge. "Coruscant has been its capital for most of that time. What you're seeing is millennia of construction, expansion, and civilization building upon itself." Anakin watched the Infinity's crew process the sight with something like sympathy. He remembered his own first time seeing Coruscant, a slave child from Tatooine suddenly confronted with the galaxy's heart. It's overwhelming at first, but the Senate district where we're heading is relatively organized. The Jedi Temple is there too. You'll want to see it. What we want, Lasky corrected, is a repair facility and technical assistance. General Kenobi, you promised the Republic could help us repair our slipspace drive. And we will, Obi-Wan assured him. The Republic Engineering Corps has access to the finest facilities in the galaxy. But Captain, you should understand, your arrival has created significant political complications. The Senate will want to meet with you. Chancellor Palpatine himself has requested an audience. Master Chief stood at his usual position near the bridge entrance, analyzing the political situation with the same tactical precision he applied to combat. Captain, recommend caution with political engagement. We don't understand the power structures here, and both sides of this war want our technology. Agreed, Lasky replied. General, we'll meet with your Chancellor and provide basic information, but UNSC protocol is clear. We don't share military technology with external governments, and we don't involve ourselves in civil conflicts. Anakin's expression suggested he knew how naive that sounded. Captain, you destroyed 3 Separatist capital ships and fought off Count Dooku personally. You're already involved. The comm officer interrupted. Sir, receiving landing coordinates from Coruscant Traffic Control. They're directing us to the Senate District Military Complex, high security area, restricted airspace. We're also receiving secondary communications from a lot of different sources. The Jedi Council, Senate committees, Republic intelligence, even commercial interests offering contracts for our technology. Ignore all secondary communications, Lasky ordered. We're not here to do business. Rodriguez, take us to those coordinates, standard approach. And someone get our damage control teams ready. I want complete assessments of our hull breaches and slipspace drive damage before we talk to anyone. The Infinity descended through Coruscant's atmosphere, her massive bulk drawing attention from every corner of the planet. News networks broadcast live feeds of the unknown warship, speculation running wild about where it came from and what it represented. In the Senate, political factions scrambled to understand the implications. In the Separatist embassy, agents transmitted intelligence reports about the vessel's capabilities. And in the Chancellor's office, Darth Sidious watched the Infinity's approach with calculated interest. Remarkable, Palpatine said, his voice carrying just the right blend of wonder and concern as he addressed the holographic image of Count Dooku. A vessel from beyond our galaxy, with weapons that bypass our defensive systems. My dear Count, you were wise to inform me immediately. They are a threat to both our plans, Master, Dooku replied, his aristocratic features tight with controlled anger. Their soldiers fought with capabilities that rivaled Jedi, but without any connection to the Force, and their captain shows no interest in either Republic or Separatist offers. Then we must ensure their interests align with ours, Sidious said smoothly. Or failing that, we ensure they don't interfere with the grand plan. Continue your preparations, my apprentice. I will handle the UNSC Infinity personally. The hologram faded, leaving Palpatine alone with his thoughts. The arrival of this vessel was unprecedented, a variable he hadn't foreseen, a piece on the board that didn't follow the rules of the game he'd spent decades orchestrating. But Darth Sidious hadn't become the most powerful Sith Lord in a millennium by fearing the unexpected. He had turned every crisis into opportunity, every threat into a tool. This would be no different. The Infinity settled into her designated berth, a military complex large enough to service Republic Star Destroyers, though even it seemed barely adequate for the UNSC vessel's bulk. Docking clamps engaged, power conduits connected, and within minutes, Republic engineering teams were requesting permission to board and assess damage. Captain, Obi-Wan said, the Jedi Council requests that you and Master Chief join me at the temple. They wish to understand your capabilities and discuss the tactical situation, while the Senate wants us in chambers to make formal statements, Anakin added with poorly concealed irritation. Politics first, strategy second. That's how the Republic works now. Lasky considered his options. Splitting his command staff was risky, but refusing to engage with the local power structures would make enemies. Master Chief, you'll accompany General Kenobi to the Jedi Temple. Take Fireteam Osiris, full combat load, but keep weapons safe unless directly threatened. I need your assessment of these Force users and whether they represent a threat to this ship. Understood, Captain, Chief replied. What about the Senate? I'll handle the politicians, Lasky said. It won't be my first time dealing with bureaucrats who want more than they're entitled to. Exo, you have the ship. No one boards without armed escort, no technology leaves this vessel, and if anyone tries to access our computers, shut them down and alert me immediately. Aye, sir, the Exo acknowledged. An hour later, Master Chief stood in a LAAT gunship flying toward the Jedi Temple, watching Coruscant's cityscape flow past. Beside him, Fireteam Osiris maintained tactical awareness, their armor's sensors cataloging thousands of potential threats and escape routes. This was hostile territory until proven otherwise, a lesson learned from decades fighting the Covenant. The Jedi Temple rose above the Senate District like a mountain of architecture. Ancient stone and modern technology blended into a structure that radiated both serenity and power. 5 spires reached toward the sky, and at its base, a massive entrance welcomed visitors with the implicit message that this was a place of peace. Chief didn't believe in places of peace, only places where the war hadn't started yet. The temple has stood for thousands of years, Obi-Wan explained as they approached. It's built on a vergence in the Force, a place where the energy of life itself flows strongest. You'll feel it when we enter. We don't feel the Force, Spartan Locke pointed out. We're not from this galaxy. Everyone touches the Force, Obi-Wan replied, even if you don't realize it. The Force binds all living things, regardless of origin. The gunship landed in the temple's hangar. As Chief and his team disembarked, he immediately noticed the Jedi watching them. Warriors in robes, their hands resting near their lightsabers, their expressions showing curiosity mixed with wariness. These were people who'd spent their lives studying combat through the lens of the Force, suddenly confronted with soldiers who fought without it. A female Jedi approached, Togruta species based on Chief's database, with montrals and headtails that marked her as non-human. Shark T, member of the Jedi Council, though Chief didn't know that yet. General Kenobi, she greeted. The Council is assembled. They are eager to meet our guests. Master Shark T, this is Master Chief Petty Officer John 117 and Fireteam Osiris of the UNSC. Obi-Wan introduced. Chief, the Council wishes to understand your capabilities and intentions. They want to know if we're a threat, Chief translated bluntly. Shakti's expression didn't change, but there was approval in her eyes. Honesty is refreshing. Yes, that is precisely what we want to know. You fought Count Dooku and survived, something few can claim. You wield technology we don't understand. And your ship has demonstrated destructive capabilities that concern us. So yes, we wish to determine if you are friend, foe, or something more complicated. Chief's motion tracker showed 23 Jedi in the immediate area, all positioned with tactical awareness that suggested military training. They were ready to respond if this meeting went wrong. We're soldiers following orders, Chief replied. Our captain wants to repair our ship and find a way home. We're not interested in your war unless it prevents us from completing that mission. And if it does prevent you, Shakti asked, then we remove the obstacle. The statement hung in the air, not a threat, just a fact delivered with the absolute certainty of someone who'd never failed a mission that mattered. Come, Shakti said finally. The council chamber awaits. They walked through the temple's halls, past meditation chambers and training rooms where Padawans practiced lightsaber forms. Chief catalogued every detail, exit points, defensive positions, weapon ranges. Beside him, Fireteam Osiris did the same, their training making threat assessment as natural as breathing. The council chamber stood at the temple's heart, a circular room with seats arranged around the perimeter, large windows offering views of Coruscant's endless cityscape. 12 Jedi Masters sat in those seats, representatives of the Order's wisdom and power. At the center stood a single chair, empty, clearly meant for whoever was being questioned. Master Chief didn't sit. He stood at attention, flanked by his Spartans, facing the assembled Jedi Council with the same composure he'd shown facing Covenant hierarchs and Forerunner constructs. Yoda, ancient and powerful beyond measure, leaned forward on his hover chair. Interesting, you are. Strong in body, quiet in the Force. Much to discuss, we have. We come in peace, Chief said, the standard first contact protocol feeling inadequate in this circular chamber, surrounded by beings who could kill him with their minds. Peace, Yoda repeated, his ancient eyes studying the Spartan with an intensity that seemed to pierce through armor and flesh. Yet weapons you carry, war you have known, death follows you like a shadow. Chief didn't deny it. We've fought for humanity's survival for 30 years against an enemy that wanted to exterminate us. Peace is what we're trying to get back to. Mace Windu leaned forward, his expression stern. We've reviewed the battle recordings from Christophsis. Your vessel destroyed 3 Separatist capital ships with minimal effort. You personally engaged Count Dooku, a Sith Lord whose combat skills are nearly unmatched, and landed strikes that Jedi Masters have failed to achieve. These are not the actions of simple soldiers seeking to go home. They're the actions of soldiers who don't surrender when outnumbered, Spartan Locke interjected. The Separatists fired first. Count Dooku boarded our vessel with hostile intent. We responded appropriately. Appropriately, Ki Adi-Mundi said, his elongated head tilting slightly. You carry weapons that fire solid projectiles at speeds our sensors could barely track. Your armor provides shielding technology we don't understand. And you fought Dooku without any connection to the Force. How is this possible? Chief considered how much to reveal. These Jedi clearly valued the Force as the pinnacle of combat capability, and learning that soldiers could match Force users through technology and training alone would shift their understanding of warfare. We're Spartan 2s, Chief explained, keeping his tone neutral. Selected as children, trained from age 6, augmented with biological enhancements at 14. Our bones are nearly unbreakable. Our reaction times are 300% faster than baseline humans. Our strength is sufficient to flip vehicles. The armor, Mjolnir-powered assault armor, enhances those abilities further and provides energy shielding. We were created to fight insurrectionist terrorists. We ended up fighting a genocidal alien empire. The Council absorbed this information with varying degrees of concern. Creating super soldiers from children was ethically problematic by any standard, but the results were undeniable. The Force flows through all living things, Shakti said carefully. Yet in you I sense resistance. Not absence, but as if something shields you from the Force's natural influence. Your armor? Unknown, Chief replied honestly. We don't have Force users in our galaxy. This is the first time we've encountered telekinetic and precognitive abilities. Yoda's ears twitched. First time, you say. Yet adapt quickly you did. Fought Dooku you did, without training against Force users. Natural warrior instinct, or something more? Before Chief could respond, the chamber doors opened and Obi-Wan entered, his expression troubled. Forgive the interruption, Masters, but there's been a development. The Senate has fast-tracked a proposal to offer the UNSC Infinity a formal military alliance. Chancellor Palpatine is presenting it now, and Captain Lasky is being pressured to accept immediately. Mace Windu's jaw tightened. The Chancellor moves quickly when he sees opportunity. Master Chief, you should understand. Your presence here has become a political asset. Both sides of this war will want to claim you as allies. We're not choosing sides. Chief stated flatly. "You may not have that luxury," Obi-Wan replied. "The Republic saved your vessel at Christophsis. They're providing repair facilities now. Politically, you're already seen as Republic-aligned whether you intend to be or not." Chief's tactical analysis ran through scenarios. They needed the repairs, which gave the Republic leverage. But accepting a formal alliance would make them legitimate targets for the Separatists and lock them into a conflict they didn't understand. Worse, it would violate UNSC protocol about interference in civil wars. "I need to contact Captain Lasky," Chief said. "Before you do," Plo Koon interjected, his masked face turning toward Chief, "you should know that Count Dooku has made an interesting counteroffer. He's transmitted directly to Separatist sympathetic senators, offering full technical support, unrestricted resources, and safe passage to any system you choose, if you simply declare neutrality and refuse the Republic alliance." "Neutrality backed by Separatist support," Locke muttered over the team channel. "That's just alliance with different words." "Politics," Spartan Buck added with disgust. Yoda's expression was grave. "Caught in the middle of our war, you are. Choice you must make, or choice will be made for you." In the Senate chambers, Captain Lasky stood before thousands of senators representing countless worlds. The amphitheater was massive, circular tiers rising toward a domed ceiling, repulsor pods carrying senators floating in the air as they debated. At the chamber's center, Chancellor Palpatine presided with grandfatherly authority. "Captain Lasky," Palpatine's voice carried through the chamber with practiced warmth. "The Galactic Republic welcomes you and your crew. We understand your vessel was damaged and you seek only to return home. The Republic is prepared to offer every resource at our disposal to help you achieve this goal." Applause rippled through the Senate, but Lasky noticed it wasn't universal. Pockets of senators remained silent, their expressions calculating. "However," Palpatine continued, "we must be honest about the situation. The Separatist alliance views your vessel as a threat or a prize to be captured. They have already attacked you once and will do so again. For your own protection and to facilitate the repairs you require, the Republic Senate proposes a formal military assistance pact." The chamber's holo display lit up with the proposal's terms: Republic engineering support, military escort, access to restricted facilities, intelligence sharing about Separatist movements, and, in exchange, UNSC technological consultation, defensive support for Republic facilities, and commitment to not provide similar assistance to the Separatists. It looked reasonable on the surface, but Lasky had read enough ONI contracts to see the trap. Technological consultation could mean anything from basic explanations to complete schematics. Defensive support could escalate into full combat deployments, and committing to not help the Separatists essentially made them Republic allies in everything but name. "Chancellor," Lasky said carefully, "the UNSC appreciates the Republic's generosity. However, my command doesn't have authority to enter formal alliances with external governments. I would need to consult with UNSC High Command, which is currently impossible given our situation. Surely in emergency circumstances a captain has operational discretion," Senator Bail Organa of Alderaan suggested. His tone was sympathetic, but his eyes showed political calculation. "Your crew needs help now, not after months of bureaucratic delays." "Captain Lasky acts with wisdom," Senator Padme Amidala countered, her voice cutting through the murmurs. "He recognizes that formal military alliances should not be rushed, especially when all parties don't fully understand each other's political situations. Perhaps we should offer humanitarian assistance without requiring political commitments." "Humanitarian assistance won't protect them from Separatist fleets," another senator argued. "The moment Captain Lasky's ship leaves Coruscant, Dooku will hunt them down. Then perhaps the captain should accept Count Dooku's neutrality offer. a Separatist sympathetic senator suggested, drawing angry responses from Republic loyalists. The debate escalated, senators arguing over the UNSC Infinity as if it were already their property to distribute. Lasky watched with growing frustration, recognizing that he'd become a pawn in a political game he didn't understand. His comm device vibrated, encrypted UNSC channel. Master Chief's voice came through, barely audible over the Senate's noise. "Captain, the Jedi Council is pressuring us to choose sides. Both Republic and Separatists are making offers. Recommend we extract and maintain independence until we fully understand the political situation." "Agreed," Lasky replied quietly. "But we're surrounded by Republic forces, in a Republic facility, on the Republic capital. Extracting won't be easy." "Sir, Infinity is combat ready. If you give the order, stand down, Chief. We're not starting a war with people who've been helping us, but we're not signing any alliances either. I'll handle the Senate. You get back to the ship, quietly." "Understood." In the Jedi Council chamber, Chief turned to Obi-Wan. "General, we appreciate your hospitality, but my captain needs me back at the Infinity. Are we free to leave?" The Jedi Council exchanged glances. Technically, the Spartans were guests, not prisoners. But allowing them to leave meant losing leverage. "You are free to go," Yoda said finally. "But warn you, I must. Galaxy in turmoil is. Alone you cannot stand. Allies you will need. Choose wisely, you must, when time comes." "We choose to complete our mission and protect our people," Chief replied. "Everything else is secondary." He turned and walked toward the exit, Fireteam Osiris falling into formation around him. The Jedi watched them go, warriors who fought without the Force, yet matched Force users in combat. It was troubling, fascinating, and potentially game-changing. As the Spartans left the temple, Mace Windu spoke what many were thinking. If the Separatists learn to replicate their technology, or worse, if the Sith do, this war will enter a new phase, one where the Force alone may not be enough. "Worry about that, we will, when it happens," Yoda replied. "For now, trust in the Force we must, and hope that these warriors from beyond find their way home before Galaxy tears them apart." Back in the Senate, Palpatine watched Lasky deflect question after question with polite non-commitments. The captain was skilled, giving just enough to seem cooperative while revealing nothing substantial. But patience was a Sith virtue. "Very well, Captain Lasky," Palpatine said with practiced resignation. "The Republic will provide repair assistance without formal alliance, as Senator Amidala suggests. However, I must insist on security protocols. For your protection, of course. We cannot allow Separatist agents to sabotage your vessel while it's under repair." "Reasonable," Lasky agreed, seeing no alternative. "Excellent. Then let us proceed with..." Alarms blared across Coruscant. Republic military channels lit up with emergency broadcasts. On the holodisplay, a tactical map showed multiple hyperspace signatures appearing at the system's edge. Separatist fleet, massive, headed directly for Coruscant. "It seems," Palpatine said, his voice carrying just the right note of concern, "that Count Dooku has decided to force the issue. Captain Lasky, your vessel may be needed sooner than we anticipated." Lasky's blood ran cold. They'd just walked into exactly the situation he'd been trying to avoid. A battle that would define which side they were on, whether they chose or not. The UNSC Infinity's bridge erupted in controlled chaos as Master Chief sprinted through the corridors, his armor's enhanced speed carrying him toward the command center. Klaxons blared, emergency lighting bathed the halls in red, and every screen showed the same nightmare, a Separatist armada dropping out of hyperspace at Coruscant's edge. "Sit rep," Chief demanded as he burst onto the bridge. "Separatist fleet, 70-plus capital ships," Rodriguez reported, his hands flying across the tactical display. "They're broadcasting demands for the Senate to surrender the Infinity or face orbital bombardment of government districts." Captain Lasky stood at the center of it all, his expression carved from stone. They're using us as an excuse to attack Coruscant. Dooku gets either our ship or the political victory of forcing the Republic to refuse and look weak. It's a win-win for him. Republic Home Fleet is deploying, the tactical officer added. We're counting 300 vessels moving to intercept, but they're spread across defensive perimeters. The Separatists have concentrated their forces for a breakthrough assault. On the viewport, Coruscant's orbital space transformed into a battlefield. Republic Star Destroyers maneuvered into defensive formations, while starfighter squadrons launched in massive waves. V-19 Torrents, ARC-170S, and Y-Wings forming attack groups that looked like swarming insects against the backdrop of the planet city. "Captain, we're receiving transmission from Republic High Command," the comm officer said. "They're requesting Infinity provide fire support for the defense." "Requesting or demanding?" Lasky asked. "Requesting, sir. But the implication is clear. If we don't help defend Coruscant, the Republic will remember that when we need their help later." Chief moved to Lasky's side. "Sir, our slipspace drive is still offline. We can't run even if we wanted to. If the Separatists break through the Republic lines, they'll target this facility specifically." "I'm aware," Lasky replied grimly. He stared at the tactical display, watching thousands of lives represented as icons and vectors. This wasn't his war, wasn't his galaxy, wasn't his responsibility, but it was his ship and his crew in the crosshairs. "Master Chief, honest assessment. Can we make a difference?" Chief analyzed the battlefield with decades of tactical experience. Mac cannons can punch through their capital ships, but we're limited by firing rate. Their numbers advantage means they can overwhelm focused defenses. However, if we position ourselves as a fire support platform and let Republic ships screen us, we can create a kill zone. They'll have to commit significant forces to remove us, forces they can't use elsewhere. "Which makes us a priority target," Lasky observed. "We're already a priority target, sir. At least this way we're fighting on our terms." Lasky's jaw tightened. Every instinct screamed to stay out of alien conflicts, to maintain neutrality, to protect his crew above all else. But neutrality was a luxury, and this battle was coming whether he participated or not. "Get me a channel to Republic Command," Lasky ordered. "And Chief, get every Spartan to combat stations. If they breach our hull again, I want them to regret it." "Already done, sir." Minutes later, the UNSC Infinity detached from the repair berth, her damaged sections hastily sealed, her weapons fully charged. Republic Star Destroyers formed a defensive sphere around her, an unprecedented show of coordination between forces that had met less than 2 days ago. "Infinity. This is Admiral Yularen, commanding Republic Defensive Perimeter Delta 7, came the transmission. "We'll provide screening and point defense. Your orders are to engage capital targets at maximum range. Don't let them close to melee distance." "Understood, Admiral," Lasky replied. "Weapons, plot-firing solutions on the lead Providence destroyers. Let's thin out their vanguard before they reach engagement range." The first Mac round spoke with thunder. A 50-ton slug crossed 100,000 kilometers in seconds, striking a Providence-class destroyer amidships. The vessel's ray shields flickered uselessly, energy barriers doing nothing against solid matter moving at relativistic velocity. The ship broke apart, its reactor detonating in a brilliant flash that temporarily overloaded optical sensors. "Target destroyed," the weapons officer reported. "Recharging. Next shot in 15 seconds. "Make every shot count," Lasky ordered. "We don't have unlimited ammunition." The Separatist fleet responded by doing exactly what Chief had predicted. They concentrated fire on the Infinity. Dozens of capital ships redirected their turbo-laser batteries, green lances of plasma streaking across the void. The Republic Star Destroyers absorbed much of the onslaught. their wedge-shaped hulls designed to present maximum armor to enemy fire. But some shots got through. Infinity's shields flared under sustained bombardment, energy barriers working overtime to dissipate the thermal load. Damage control teams rushed to sections where shields had momentarily collapsed, sealing breaches and rerouting power. "Shields at 60%, the defensive systems officer called out. "We're taking more fire than anticipated. That's not just capital ships. They've got munificent-class frigates dedicated to targeting us specifically." Chief watched the tactical display, identifying the pattern. They're using coordinated volleys, timing shots to hit the same shield section simultaneously. It's overloading our recharge capability. "Can we compensate?" Lasky demanded. "Not without reducing shield coverage elsewhere. Recommend we rotate the ship, present fresh shield sections to enemy fire." "Do it. Helm, rotate us 30 degrees on the Z-axis every 45 seconds. Keep them guessing where our weak points are." The Infinity began a slow, deliberate rotation, her massive bulk moving with surprising grace. The maneuver forced the Separatists to continuously adjust their targeting solutions, reducing their effective fire concentration. Meanwhile, the Mac cannons kept firing. Every 15 seconds, another capital ship died. Providence destroyers, Recusant-class destroyers, munificent frigates. The Separatist formation began showing gaps, holes in their battle line where UNSC firepower had simply erased vessels from existence. "They're adapting," Rodriguez warned. "Separatist forces are spreading out, reducing target density to make our MAC fire less efficient." "Then we adapt too," Lasky replied. "Weapons switch to missile pods, Archer missiles, wide dispersal pattern. Let's see how their point defense handles 300 inbound targets simultaneously." Missile pods along Infinity's hull opened, each cell containing a single Archer missile. Ship-to-ship weapons with modest warheads but excellent guidance systems. 300 missiles launched in a cascade, their engines burning bright as they spread into a wide attack pattern. The Separatist vessel's point defense cannons opened up, filling space with defensive fire. Dozens of missiles died before reaching their targets. But dozens more got through, striking vulnerable sections, communication arrays, sensor clusters, engine nacelles. The damage wasn't catastrophic, but it was cumulative, degrading enemy combat effectiveness with each hit. "Enemy fighter screen inbound," Tactical reported. "We're counting 200 Vulture droids and tri-fighters closing fast." Chief's tactical mind processed the threat. "Those are droid fighters, no organic pilots. They'll make attack runs our point defense can't fully intercept. Captain, recommend we deploy our own fighters. Longswords can handle droid craft." "Negative," Lasky replied. "I'm not risking pilots in an environment they haven't trained for. Our point defense will have to be enough." The droid starfighters swarmed toward Infinity like mechanical locusts, their weapons blazing. Point defense guns tracked and fired, 50mm autocannons tearing through droid hulls with precision that would have impressed the Republic pilots watching. But there were too many targets, and some got through. Proton torpedoes and concussion missiles slammed into Infinity's hull, detonating against shields and armor. The ship shuddered, alarms blaring as multiple sections reported damage. "Hull breach on Deck 7, Sections 9 through 12, Damage Control reported. "Atmosphere contained, no casualties." "They're probing our defenses," Chief observed. "Testing which weapons work best against our shields. The next wave will be more focused." He was right. The second wave of droid fighters came in tighter formation, concentrating on a single shield section. The combined fire overwhelmed the localized barrier, and suddenly, droid tri-fighters were strafing Infinity's hull directly, their laser cannons scoring the titanium A3 armor. "Deploy Spartans to exposed sections," Chief ordered over the command channel. "Use anti-aircraft loadouts. If droids want to strafe our hull, we'll greet them personally." Across the ship, airlocks opened and Spartans stepped out into hard vacuum, mag boots locking them to the hull. They carried specialized weapons, M41 rocket launchers, LAU-65D missile pods, and heavy machine guns. When the next wave of droids came in for strafing runs, they found themselves facing anti-aircraft fire from soldiers standing on the ship's exterior. Spartan Thorn's rocket caught a tri-fighter directly in the cockpit, the droid exploding in a satisfying fireball. Beside him, other Spartans unleashed sustained fire, creating a defensive perimeter that made close approach suicidal even for unmanned fighters. "External defense is holding," Chief reported. "But sir, we can't maintain this indefinitely. Those Separatist capital ships are still closing, and our shield strength is dropping." On the main view screen, the battle had become a maelstrom of destruction. Republic and Separatist ships tangled in close combat, turbo-laser fire crisscrossing in every direction. Starfighters dueled among the capital ships, and explosions lit up Coruscant's orbital space like fireworks. And at the center of it all, the UNSC Infinity stood defiant, a ship from another galaxy, fighting in someone else's war because circumstance had left no other choice. "Sir!" Rodriguez called out, his voice urgent. "New contact. Single ship. Approaching from the Separatist rear. Small profile, high speed. It's... oh hell. It's Count Dooku's solar sailor." Lasky's blood ran cold. "He's coming himself again." Chief's expression behind his visor was grim. "Last time he boarded us, we barely drove him off. If he gets inside the ship with the battle raging outside, we'll be fighting on two fronts." "Then we don't let him board," Lasky stated. "Weapons. Can we target that solar sailor with point defense?" "Negative, sir. Too small, moving too fast, and our point defense is already saturated with droid fighters." "Captain," Anakin Skywalker's voice came over the comm. He'd stayed on Coruscant's surface but was monitoring the battle. "If Dooku's coming personally, he's not planning a simple boarding action. He's planning to take your ship. You need Jedi support aboard Infinity." "We have Spartans," Lasky replied. "Spartans can't deflect force lightning or stop telekinetic attacks," Anakin countered. "I'm launching now with a strike team. Don't refuse backup out of pride, Captain." Lasky looked at Chief, silently asking for his assessment. "Jedi might make the difference," Chief admitted reluctantly. "But they'll see our internal systems, our weapon storage, everything we've been keeping secure." "Better than letting Dooku capture the ship," Lasky decided. "General Skywalker, you're cleared to dock, but your team follows our security protocols." "Understood. On our way." The solar sailor continued its approach, and Master Chief prepared for round 2 against a Sith Lord, this time with Jedi allies, on a battlefield that made their previous encounter look like a training exercise. The battle for Coruscant, and for the UNSC Infinity's fate, was entering its critical phase. Count Dooku's solar sailor cut through the battle like a blade through flesh, its profile so small and maneuverable that targeting systems struggled to track it. Behind him, a trio of Separatist boarding craft followed, Droch-class vessels packed with droid commandos and elite battle units, specifically designed for ship capture operations. "Boarding craft closing from Vector 37, Rodriguez reported. "They're using the solar sailor as a screen. Our targeting solutions keep locking on Dooku's ship instead of the transports." "Clever," Master Chief acknowledged. "He's using himself as chaff. Captain, those boarding craft will try to magnetically clamp onto our hull. Once attached, they'll cut through and deploy troops directly into multiple sections simultaneously. We'll be fighting on 5 fronts at once." "Point defense. Concentrate fire on those transports," Lasky ordered. "Forget Dooku for now. Stop the boarding craft." Auto cannons swiveled, tracking the incoming vessels. 50mm rounds tore through space, several finding their marks. One boarding craft exploded, its hull integrity compromised. Another lost maneuvering capability and spun away into the void. But the third, reached Infinity's hull, and locked on with magnetic grapples. "Contact Section 23, Tactical reported. "They're cutting through now." "All teams converge on Section 23, Chief commanded over the Spartan channel. "Defensive formation, overlapping fields of fire. They come through that breach. They die." Then Dooku's solar sailor clamped onto Infinity's hull, barely 50 meters from the main hangar bay. "2 breach points," Lasky stated grimly. "Master Chief, split your forces. You take Dooku. Send Fireteam Majestic to Section 23. "Sir, I should handle the droid commandos," Chief argued. The Jedi are 30 seconds out, and Dooku won't wait," Lasky interrupted. "You're the only one who's fought him before and survived. Go." Chief didn't argue further. He took Fireteam Osiris and sprinted toward the hangar bay, where alarms were already blaring breach warnings. Behind him, Spartan Thorn led Fireteam Majestic towards Section 23, where cutting torches were burning through Infinity's armor. The hangar bay's emergency bulkheads had sealed, but atmosphere was venting through a precisely cut circular hole where Dooku had burned through. Droid soldiers poured in first, not the standard B-1 units, but something more sophisticated. IG-100 Magna Guards, Dooku's personal bodyguard droids, each carrying electrostaffs that crackled with energy capable of blocking lightsabers. They moved with disturbing coordination, immediately establishing defensive positions and laying down covering fire for their master. Then Count Dooku stepped through the breach. He looked different than before, his aristocratic robes replaced with combat armor, his curved lightsaber already ignited, his expression carrying the cold certainty of someone who'd planned every move 3 steps ahead. His eyes locked onto Master Chief with recognition and barely suppressed anger. "The Spartan," Dooku said, his voice carrying across the hangar despite the chaos. "I admit, you impressed me at our last encounter. You actually made me bleed, something Jedi Masters have failed to accomplish. But I was unprepared then. I won't make that mistake twice." Chief raised his MA-5D assault rifle. "Neither will I." He fired, 3-round bursts walking up toward Dooku's center mass. The Sith Lord's lightsaber was already moving, deflecting rounds with precision that should have been impossible. But this time, Fireteam Osiris spread out, firing from 4 different angles simultaneously. Even a Sith Lord couldn't deflect from every direction at once. Dooku's free hand thrust forward, and invisible force energy slammed into Spartan Buck, hurling him backward into a Pelican's hull with bone-crushing impact. But while Dooku was focused on Buck, Locke closed from the flank, his energy sword, a captured Covenant weapon, blazing blue as it struck toward the Sith Lord's exposed side. Dooku spun impossibly fast, his lightsaber intercepting the energy sword in a shower of sparks. For a moment, the 2 blades locked, plasma meeting plasma, red against blue. Locke pushed with his armor's enhanced strength, but Dooku's force-augmented power matched him. "Interesting weapon," Dooku observed, genuine curiosity in his voice. "Not Jedi, not Sith. What other wonders do you soldiers carry from your mysterious origin?" Spartan Tanaka's answer came in the form of an M319 grenade launcher. The explosive round detonated 3 meters from Dooku, the blast wave strong enough to shatter concrete. The Sith Lord created a force barrier, the explosion washing around him like water around a rock, but the sheer kinetic energy still drove him backward. Chief seized the moment. He activated his armor's thruster pack, short-duration boost meant for zero-G maneuvering, and crossed the distance to Dooku in under a second. His combat knife, freshly requisitioned after losing the last one, drove toward the Sith Lord's throat. Dooku caught Chief's wrist with the force, stopping the blade centimeters from his jugular. But Chief's other hand was already moving, powered gauntlet striking with enough force to dent titanium. The blow connected with Dooku's ribs, and the Sith Lord gasped, his concentration breaking. The knife completed its arc. Dooku twisted at the last instant. the blade scoring across his shoulder instead of his throat. Blood welled from the wound. Not fatal, but painful and humiliating. The Sith Lord's expression transformed from controlled confidence to genuine fury. "Enough!" Dooku roared. Force lightning erupted from his fingertips. Not the measured strikes he'd used before, but a torrent of electrical energy that lit the hangar bay like a lightning storm. The attack wasn't aimed at Chief alone, but spread wide, seeking to incapacitate all the Spartans simultaneously. Chief's shields absorbed the initial burst, energy barriers designed to stop plasma fire working overtime to disperse the electrical current. But Mjolnir's shields weren't designed for sustained energy attacks of this magnitude. His shield indicator plummeted from full to 20% in 2 seconds. Around him, Fireteam Osiris struggled, their shields flickering, armor servos locking up from electrical interference, warning alarms screaming in their helmets. Then, a green lightsaber intercepted the lightning. Anakin Skywalker burst into the hangar bay, his weapon raised, using the blade as a lightning rod to redirect Dooku's attack. Behind him came Obi-Wan Kenobi and 4 more Jedi Knights, their own lightsabers ignited. "Dooku!" Anakin shouted, his voice carrying rage and determination. "This ends now." "Skywalker," Dooku replied, his lightning ceasing as he refocused on the new threats. "And Kenobi, how predictable. You ally yourself with these outsiders, these non-Force users who understand nothing of our ways." "They understand fighting tyranny," Obi-Wan replied calmly, moving to flank Dooku alongside Anakin, "which makes them better allies than you'll ever be." The Magna Guards moved to intercept the Jedi, their electro-staffs clashing against lightsabers in a cacophony of energy weapons. The hangar bay became a battlefield, Spartans fighting droids with bullets and grenades, Jedi dueling Dooku's guards with ancient techniques, and at the center of it all, the confrontation between a Sith Lord and warriors from 2 galaxies. Chief's shields had recovered to 40%. He reloaded his assault rifle, analyzing the tactical situation. Dooku was fully engaged with Anakin and Obi-Wan, their 3 lightsabers creating a deadly dance of red and green and blue. The Jedi were skilled, but Dooku was holding his own against both of them. "Osiris, target the Magna Guards," Chief ordered. "Concentrated fire. Those electro-staffs can block lightsabers, but not bullets. Let's even the odds." The Spartans shifted focus, their weapons discipline creating overlapping fields of fire. Magna Guards were tough. Their duranium frames could withstand several hits, but sustained fire from 4 assault rifles and Tanaka's DMR was overwhelming. One by one, the bodyguard droids fell, their processors destroyed or their power cores compromised. With his guards eliminated, Dooku found himself surrounded. 2 Jedi in front, 4 more spreading to cut off escape routes, and Spartans providing ranged fire support. It was the kind of tactical situation that should have been hopeless. But Dooku was a Sith Lord who'd survived decades of political intrigue and combat against the galaxy's finest warriors. He hadn't reached his position by fighting fair. His hand shot out, using the Force to wrench a Pelican dropship from its magnetic clamps. The multi-ton vehicle flew across the hangar bay like a missile, forcing the Jedi to scatter. In the moment of confusion, Dooku leaped. Force-enhanced jump carrying him 15 meters vertically to a catwalk that ran along the hangar's upper level. "Retreat!" Dooku commanded his remaining forces. "We've gathered sufficient intelligence." He raised his lightsaber and, with surgical precision, cut through a support beam. The catwalk collapsed, creating a barrier of twisted metal between him and his pursuers. Before anyone could react, he was sprinting toward the breach in the hull where his solar sailor waited. "Don't let him escape!" Anakin shouted, Force leaping over the debris, but Dooku had already reached his vessel. The solar sailor detached from Infinity's hull, its exotic engines flaring to life. Within seconds, it was accelerating away, disappearing into the chaos of the larger battle. Chief lowered his weapon, frustration evident in his stance. He got away again. He didn't come to win. Obi-Wan said, breathing heavily from the exertion. "He came to test us, to see how Jedi and UNSC forces work together. This was reconnaissance, not conquest." "Expensive reconnaissance," Locke observed, gesturing to the destroyed Magna Guards and the damage to the hangar bay. "What did he learn that was worth this?" "That we can fight together effectively," Anakin replied grimly. "Which means he'll plan accordingly next time. He knows our strengths now, and Dooku never makes the same mistake twice." "Sir," Rodriguez's voice crackled over Chief's comm. "Section 23 has repelled borders. Fireteam Majestic reports 73 droid commandos destroyed. No Spartan casualties. But Captain Lasky needs you on the bridge. The Separatist fleet is withdrawing." Chief and the Jedi rushed to the bridge, where tactical displays showed the impossible. The Separatist armada was breaking off engagement, ships turning away from Coruscant and preparing to jump to hyperspace. "They're retreating," Lasky said, disbelief in his voice. "We bloodied them, but they still have numerical superiority. Why withdraw now?" "Because they accomplished their objective," Obi-Wan said quietly, understanding dawning in his eyes. "This wasn't an invasion, it was a demonstration." "A demonstration of what?" Lasky demanded. "That the UNSC Infinity can be brought to battle. That you will fight to defend Republic territory. That you can be provoked into taking sides." Obi-Wan's expression was grim. "Captain, whether you intended to or not, you just declared which side of this war you're on. Every Separatist in the galaxy now sees you as a Republic weapon." The weight of those words settled over the bridge. They'd fought to defend themselves, to protect the facility repairing their ship, to survive against impossible odds. But in this galaxy's political reality, survival was interpreted as alliance. Master Chief stood beside his captain, watching the Separatist fleet disappear into hyperspace, and realized the terrible truth. They'd won the battle, but lost the war for neutrality. The aftermath of the battle left Coruscant's orbital space littered with debris, twisted metal, burning wreckage, and the scattered remnants of ships from both sides. The UNSC Infinity floated among the carnage, her hull scarred but intact, surrounded by Republic vessels that had paid dearly for their victory. 16 Venator-class star destroyers had been lost, along with countless starfighters and their pilots. The Separatists had lost more, but that was small comfort. On Infinity's bridge, Captain Lasky stared at damage reports with exhaustion carved into every line of his face. 72 hours without sleep, 3 major engagements, and his ship was now trapped in a political web he couldn't cut through. "Final casualty count," he said quietly. 18 Marines KIA, 37 wounded, the XO reported. No Spartan casualties, though several have depleted shield systems and damaged armor. Engineering reports slip space drive is still offline. Separatist bombardment damaged components we'd already repaired. New estimate, 4 weeks minimum. 4 weeks, a month trapped in this galaxy, in this war, with every faction watching their every move. "Captain," Master Chief said from his position near the command chair, "we need to discuss our strategic situation. We're combat effective but politically compromised. The Separatists will target us specifically now, and the Republic will expect continued support." "I'm aware, Chief." Lasky rubbed his eyes. "Get the senior staff together. We need to make decisions about our next move." An hour later, Infinity's conference room held an unusual gathering. Captain Lasky sat at the head of the table, flanked by Master Chief and Commander Palmer, the Spartan 4 who commanded Infinity's Spartan contingent. Across from them sat Obi-Wan Kenobi, Anakin Skywalker, and a holographic projection of Admiral Yularen. The room hummed with tension, allies by circumstance, not choice, trying to navigate an impossible situation. "Let's be honest about our position," Lasky began. "The UNSC Infinity is trapped in your galaxy with no way home for at least a month. We've been identified as a Republic asset by the Separatists, which makes us a target. And we're sitting on technology that both sides of your civil war would kill to possess. What are our options? You could formally join the Republic military, Admiral Ularen suggested. Accept commission as an auxiliary fleet. You'd receive full support, protected status, and priority access to repair facilities across Republic space. In exchange for what? Commander Palmer asked, her tone skeptical. Complete technology sharing? Tactical integration? Subordination to Republic command? We would never demand complete subordination, Obi-Wan interjected diplomatically. But yes, some level of tactical cooperation would be expected. You've seen the war we're fighting. The Republic needs every advantage. And that's the problem, Chief stated bluntly. We don't understand this war. We've been here less than a week. We don't know the political history, the legitimate grievances on either side, or what we'd actually be supporting beyond survival. Anakin's frustration was evident. The Separatists are led by a Sith Lord who uses fear and manipulation to control entire systems. They deploy droid armies that feel no mercy. They've committed atrocities across the galaxy. What more do you need to know? We need to know if the Republic's cause is genuinely just or just more convenient for us, Lasky replied. The UNSC has fought in civil conflicts before, Captain. We've learned the hard way that the side offering help isn't always the side that deserves it. So, what do you propose? Obi-Wan asked. Neutrality is no longer an option. The galaxy has seen you fight alongside Republic forces. Separatist propaganda networks are already broadcasting footage of your vessel destroying their ships. Chief pulled up a holographic tactical display. We establish an independent position, not Republic, not Separatist, UNSC. We make it clear that we'll defend ourselves and our repair facilities, but we're not engaging in offensive operations for either side. The Separatists won't accept that, Admiral Ularen warned. They'll see you as a threat that needs to be eliminated before you become fully integrated into Republic forces. Then they can try, Commander Palmer said coldly. We've already killed 3 of their capital ships and fought off Count Dooku twice. Let them come. This is not about bravado, Obi-Wan said gently. This is about survival. Your ship is formidable, but you're one vessel in a galaxy at war. If the Separatists commit a full battle group to hunting you, 100 ships, coordinated assault, multiple simultaneous vectors, can you honestly say you'd survive? The silence that followed was answer enough. There is another option, Anakin said slowly, an idea forming. The Outer Rim. There are neutral systems out there beyond the reach of either Republic or Separatist direct control. If you could reach one of those systems, establish a secure position, you could repair your slip space drive without constant political pressure. And how do we get there? Lasky asked. Our slip space drive doesn't work, and we don't have hyperspace capability. We could provide a hyperspace tug, Admiral Ularen suggested. A heavy transport vessel modified to generate a hyperspace field large enough to encompass your ship. It's risky. The mass calculations are complex, but theoretically possible. Theoretically, Chief repeated. What's the failure rate? Unknown. It's never been attempted with a vessel of your size. So we could end up scattered across hyperspace, or materialized inside a star, or simply lost between dimensions, Commander Palmer summarized. Great options all around. Better than staying here, Lasky said, making his decision. We're a strategic asset that everyone wants to control or destroy. If we stay at Coruscant, we become a political football. If we move to the Outer Rim, we at least have room to maneuver. Captain, Obi-Wan said carefully, I understand your desire for independence. But I must warn you, the Outer Rim is dangerous. Pirates, criminal syndicates, rogue force users, and warlords who respect only strength. You'll be trading one set of problems for another. At least those problems won't involve galactic politics, Lasky replied. General Kenobi, I appreciate everything the Republic has done. You saved us at Christophsis, provided repair facilities here, and fought alongside us today. But the UNSC can't be drawn deeper into your civil war. We have our own galaxy to get back to, our own people who need us. Anakin's expression showed he understood, even if he disagreed. What about the friendship we've built? The trust between our forces? Doesn't that count for something? It counts for everything, Lasky replied honestly. Which is why I'm being straight with you now, instead of just disappearing in the night. We're not abandoning the Republic. We're protecting both our interests by maintaining independence. Master Chief spoke into the tactical implications. If we relocate to the Outer Rim, we need complete navigation data, intelligence on local threats, and communication protocols to maintain contact with Republic forces. We're not cutting ties, just establishing operational distance. That's acceptable, Obi-Wan agreed, relief evident in his voice. And Captain, should you need assistance in the Outer Rim, the Jedi Order has resources there. We're not limited to the core worlds. There's one more thing, Admiral Yularen said. Your Mac cannon technology, the kinetic weapons that punch through ray shields. The Republic military would like to understand the basic principles. Not complete schematics, just the fundamental physics. It could save countless lives in future engagements. Lasky exchanged glances with Chief and Palmer. This was the ask they'd been waiting for. The price of cooperation, dressed up as reasonable request. Basic physics only, Lasky agreed. Projectile mass, velocity calculations, energy requirements. Nothing that would allow direct replication without decades of parallel development. And in exchange, we want hyperspace navigation computers, the complete database, not just the routes to one system. Done, Yularen said immediately. I'll have the technical teams coordinate the exchange. The meeting concluded with cautious optimism. Plans were set in motion, hyperspace tug construction, route calculations to neutral systems in the Outer Rim, technology exchange protocols. It wasn't a perfect solution, but it was survival. As the Jedi prepared to leave, Anakin pulled Master Chief aside. That fight against Dooku in the hangar bay, you coordinated with us like we'd trained together for years. How? Combat is combat, Chief replied simply. The weapons and powers change, but tactics are universal. You created openings, we exploited them. That's what soldiers do. You're more than just soldiers, Anakin observed. I've fought alongside clones for years, excellent troops, completely loyal, but you Spartans have something different. Independence, the ability to question orders, to think beyond mission parameters. It's admirable. It's necessary, Chief replied. The Covenant War taught us that following orders blindly gets people killed. Sometimes the mission changes, and you need soldiers who can adapt. I'll remember that, Anakin said quietly, his thoughts clearly on the Jedi Order's own rigid doctrines. 3 weeks later, the UNSC Infinity hung in space near Raxus Secundus, a nominally neutral system in the Outer Rim that had agreed to host the massive warship's repairs. The hyperspace tug had worked, barely, and they'd arrived intact if somewhat rattled by the experience. The slipspace drive was now operational, if not optimal. Engineering estimated 70% functionality, enough for an emergency jump, though the destination would be uncertain. Sure, Fujikawa drives weren't designed for extragalactic travel, and without proper navigation data for their home galaxy, any jump would be essentially blind. Captain Lasky stood on the bridge, watching repair crews work on external hull damage. Beside him, Master Chief reviewed tactical assessments of their new position. We're 48 hours from full operational capability, Lasky said. Slipspace drive can get us out of this galaxy if we're desperate enough to take the risk. The question is, do we take that risk? Sir? Chief turned to face his captain. We could jump now, aim for what we think is the direction of our galaxy, and hope the drive gets us close enough to find our way home. Or we stay, finish repairs properly, maybe help the Republic a little more before we leave. What's your assessment? Chief considered carefully. Tactical analysis. Jumping now gives us 60 to 40 odds of survival. Staying increases risk of political entanglement, but improves our chances of a clean return home to 90%. Recommend we complete repairs and maintain current course. Even knowing we're being drawn deeper into their war? We've fought in wars before, sir. The difference is whether we fight on our terms or theirs. Right now, we still control our position. The moment that changes, we jump, regardless of the risk, Lasky finished. Agreed. An alert chimed. Rodriguez looked up from his console, expression troubled. Captain, we're receiving an encoded transmission. It's strange. The encryption is UNSC standard, but the source is listed as Forerunner origin. Every person on the bridge froze. The Forerunners were the ancient civilization that had built the Halo rings, extinct for over 100,000 years. Their technology was beyond human understanding, their legacy written in weapons that could destroy entire star systems. Play it, Lasky ordered. The transmission resolved into audio only, the voice synthesized and cold. UNSC Vessel Infinity, this is a Forerunner monitoring construct. You have been detected operating in an unauthorized dimensional space. Your presence creates instability in local space-time. You are ordered to return to your origin dimension immediately, or containment protocols will be enacted. Silence filled the bridge. Forerunner, Chief said quietly. They're still active, and they know we're here. The implications crashed down like an avalanche. The Forerunners, the civilization that had built the Halos, that had fought the Flood, that had seeded humanity across the stars, were watching. And they considered the UNSC Infinity's presence in the Star Wars galaxy a violation of some ancient law. Rodriguez, Lasky said, his voice steady despite the existential dread, triangulate that signal source. I want to know where it came from. Sir, it's everywhere and nowhere. The signal didn't travel through space. It manifested directly on our communication systems, like it was always here, waiting for us to listen. Master Chief's tactical mind was already processing implications. If the Forerunners want us gone, they have the technology to force the issue. The fact that they're warning us suggests they're giving us a chance to leave voluntarily. Or they're testing whether we'll comply, Commander Palmer added. Forerunner constructs don't negotiate. They execute predetermined protocols. Captain, Obi-Wan's voice came over the comm. He'd been monitoring from his temporary quarters on the ship. I felt something through the Force, a disturbance, like reality itself was being observed. What was that transmission? Lasky made a decision. General Kenobi, please come to the bridge. We need to discuss something that changes everything we thought we knew about our situation. As the Jedi made his way to the bridge, Lasky stared at the stars of this alien galaxy, wondering if the UNSC Infinity's greatest threat wasn't the Republic, the Separatists, or even the Sith. It was the ghosts of an ancient empire that had just reminded them they were never supposed to be here at all, and the Forerunners were watching. The UNSC Infinity floated in the outer rim darkness, her hull finally repaired, her systems operational, her crew exhausted but alive. 3 months had passed since that impossible moment when slipspace had torn open and deposited them into a galaxy far, far away. 3 months of battles, political maneuvering, alliances forged in fire, and the constant struggle to maintain independence in a war that consumed everything it touched. Captain Lasky stood alone on the observation deck, watching Republic supply ships depart after delivering the final components for their slipspace drive. The repairs were complete. The navigation computers had been recalibrated with data from both UNSC stellar cartography and the Forerunner warning transmission. a signal that had repeated twice more, each time with increasing urgency about dimensional contamination and timeline instability. Master Chief entered the observation deck, his footsteps silent despite his armor's weight. "Captain, engineering reports slip-space drive is at 97% functionality. We can jump whenever you give the order." "And if we jump, what happens to the people here?" Lasky asked quietly. "We've fought alongside them, bled alongside them. The Jedi trust us now. Republic forces coordinate with our tactics. We've changed their war just by being here." "Sir, we're not from this galaxy," Chief replied. "The Forerunner warnings suggest our presence itself is dangerous, not just politically, but fundamentally. We don't belong here, and the longer we stay, the more damage we might cause to the fabric of reality itself." Lasky turned to face his Spartan. "You've spent 30 years fighting for humanity, Chief. Does it bother you, leaving these people to their war?" "Every war bothers me, sir. But this one isn't ours to fight. The Clone Wars started before we arrived, and will continue after we leave. The best thing we can do is give them the tools we've already provided: tactical innovations, technological insights, proof that Force users aren't invincible, and let them forge their own destiny." Spoken like a soldier who's learned when to walk away, Lasky observed. "All right, signal all hands. We jump in 6 hours. Give everyone time to say their goodbyes." The word spread through Infinity quickly. In the hangar bay, Spartan Fireteams gathered to review mission logs, 3 months of combat against droids, Sith, and political machinations. They'd lost no Spartans but had come close more times than comfortable. The Clone Wars had tested them in ways even the Covenant hadn't, forcing them to fight enemies who could predict their moves through the Force and political opponents who couldn't be stopped with bullets. On Coruscant, Obi-Wan Kenobi received the message and felt both relief and sadness. The UNSC had been unpredictable allies, brilliant tacticians, fierce warriors, but fundamentally disconnected from the galactic conflicts that defined this era. Their departure would remove a powerful asset from the Republic's arsenal, but it would also eliminate a variable that even Jedi precognition struggled to account for. Anakin Skywalker's reaction was more visceral. He'd grown to respect Master Chief and the Spartans, warriors who fought without the Force, yet matched Jedi in capability through pure skill and determination. Their departure felt like abandonment, though intellectually he understood they had their own galaxy to protect. Count Dooku, monitoring from a Separatist command ship, allowed himself a thin smile. The UNSC Infinity had been a thorn in his plans, unpredictable, devastatingly effective, and impossible to corrupt or manipulate. Its departure would restore balance to the war, allowing his master's grand design to proceed without interference from dimensional anomalies. And in the depths of Coruscant's Senate building, Darth Sidious felt the disturbance in the Force as the Infinity prepared to leave. Good. The vessel and its crew had been useful, demonstrating new technologies, forcing tactical evolution, creating chaos that he'd exploited, but they'd also been dangerous. Soldiers who couldn't be controlled through fear or ambition, who owed loyalty only to their own distant command structure, represented a threat to his carefully orchestrated schemes. Let them return to whatever reality spawned them. 6 hours later, the UNSC Infinity's bridge hummed with barely contained energy. Every station reported ready. The slip-space drive had been charged to maximum capacity. Navigation computers had calculated the dimensional vectors based on Forerunner data and UNSC stellar cartography. The jump would be blind, aiming for what they hoped was the direction of their home galaxy, but it was their only chance. "All hands, this is Captain Lasky." His voice carried through every corridor and compartment. "In 60 seconds, we're going home. We came to this galaxy by accident, fought in wars that weren't ours, and somehow survived against impossible odds. We made allies, earned enemies, and proved that the UNSC can hold its own anywhere in any reality. When we return, and we will return, we'll bring back intelligence about civilizations, technologies, and threats beyond anything humanity has encountered. We'll be better prepared, better trained, and better equipped because of what we've learned here. Spartans, Marines, crew, you've all performed beyond expectations. Now let's finish this mission and get home. Master Chief stood at his position near the command chair, his armor's systems all green, his mind already shifting to the next challenge. The Forerunner monitoring constructs would likely guide their jump. They wanted the UNSC gone as much as Lasky wanted to leave. Whether that guidance would be helpful or hostile remained to be seen, but Chief had faced Forerunner installations before. He'd survive this too. Slipspace drive charged, engineering reported. Dimensional breach forming. Sir, the Forerunner signal is active again. It's coordinating with our navigation system. They're opening a stable passage. Then they really do want us gone, Lasky observed. Fine by me. Helm, engage slipspace drive on my mark. 3, 2, 1. Mark. Reality tore open. But this time, it was controlled. A precise incision rather than violent rupture. The slipspace portal manifested with geometric perfection, its edges lined with Forerunner symbols that pulsed with ancient power. Through the portal, they could see nothing. Not black space, not hyperspace's blue tunnel, but absolute void. The space between dimensions where normal physics had no meaning. The UNSC Infinity's engines fired, pushing the massive warship toward the portal. As they crossed the threshold, every sensor went haywire, readings fluctuating between impossible values. Time seemed to stretch and compress simultaneously. Crew members felt momentarily disconnected from their bodies, as if consciousness itself was being translated between dimensional frameworks. Then, they were through. Space resolved around them. Familiar constellations, recognizable nebulae, the comforting sight of their own galaxy spread across the view screen. But something was different. The star patterns were right, but shifted. Navigation computers struggled to reconcile their position. Location confirmed, Rodriguez said, disbelief in his voice. We're in UNSC space, sir. Epsilon Eridani system. We're home. Cheers erupted across the bridge. Relief and joy mixing with exhausted triumph. They'd done it. Against all odds, lost in another galaxy, hunted by Sith Lords and politicians, the UNSC Infinity had found its way home. But Chief noticed something the others hadn't yet. Rodriguez, what's the current date? The navigator checked, then rechecked, his expression confused. Sir, according to our chronometers, we were gone for 3 months. But according to UNSC navigation beacons, we've been missing for 6 hours. Silence descended on the bridge as the implications sank in. They'd spent 3 months in the Star Wars galaxy, fought battles, forged alliances, changed the course of a galactic war. But in their own reality, barely any time had passed at all. Time dilation, Lasky breathed. The Forerunners didn't just send us home. They synchronized our timeline. From the UNSC's perspective, we just jumped out and jumped back. Which means nobody knows what happened to us, Commander Palmer realized. Nobody would believe it even if we told them. They'll believe the battle damage, Chief observed, and the intelligence we bring back. 3 months of combat data against technologies we've never seen. Tactical innovations from fighting force users. Weapon systems that bypass energy shielding. Fleetcom will want everything. Then we give them everything, Lasky decided. Every battle log, every tactical analysis, every piece of intelligence we gathered. The Star Wars galaxy exists somewhere in dimensional space, which means it could be reached again, intentionally or accidentally. Humanity needs to know what's out there. He opened a ship-wide channel. All hands, welcome home. Set course for Earth. We have a lot of debriefing ahead of us. As the Infinity's engines propelled them toward humanity's homeworld, Master Chief took one last look at the stars, his galaxy, his war. The Clone Wars would continue without them. Jedi and Sith would battle for the galaxy's soul. And somewhere out there, Count Dooku would tell the story of the mysterious ship from beyond reality that had appeared, fought, and vanished. But the UNSC Infinity had left its mark. Tactical innovations shared with Republic forces would save lives. Technologies inspired by UNSC designs would emerge in the coming years. And perhaps, most importantly, warriors on both sides of that distant conflict had learned that the Force wasn't the only path to power, that determination, technology, and human ingenuity could match even the most ancient abilities. The Spartan 2 walked through Infinity's corridors one final time before reporting for debriefing, his armor scarred from battles against enemies his creators never imagined. He'd fought Covenant, Flood, Prometheans, and now Separatist droids and Sith Lords. Each war taught new lessons, revealed new threats, demanded new sacrifices. But one truth remained constant across all realities, all galaxies, all conflicts. Soldiers like him would always stand between humanity and whatever darkness threatened it, regardless of whether that darkness wielded plasma rifles, energy swords, or lightsabers. The Force might bind all things in that distant galaxy, but here, in the cold equations of UNSC space, another force prevailed. The indomitable will of humanity to survive, adapt, and triumph against any odds. The UNSC Infinity disappeared into slipspace, heading home with stories that would reshape human understanding of the universe itself. Behind them, dimensional barriers sealed, Forerunner protocols completed their task, and the passage between galaxies closed. For now. But in the archives of both the UNSC and the Jedi Order, records would remain, proof that when two galaxies collided, when soldiers from different realities stood together against impossible threats, something remarkable emerged. Not just victory, but understanding. Not just survival, but growth. The Clone Wars would rage on without them, its outcome uncertain, its cost staggering. But somewhere in that conflict, Republic soldiers would remember the ship that appeared from nowhere, fought like demons, and proved that even in a galaxy ruled by the Force, courage and determination could change everything. And perhaps, in the distant future when the wars finally ended and peace returned to both galaxies, historians would look back on this impossible moment, this brief collision of realities, and recognize it for what it truly was. Proof that no matter how different civilizations might be, warriors who fight for something greater than themselves speak a universal language, the language of honor, sacrifice, and the unbreakable resolve to protect those who cannot protect themselves. May the Force be with them all, and may humanity's spirit endure across all realities forever. May the Force be with you. More stories await.